Given the bravery of the Ukrainian people, why do you seem to me, at least, to be so lukewarm on aid to the Ukrainians who are running out of ammunition and are in pretty desperate straits?
I want you to understand, Russia is with us. They're with Trump.
Russia is with us?
Russia is with Trump.
Russia's not with the USA. One of their main goals is to destabilize.
Putin is with Trump. I guarantee it.
It's not the flex you think it is, though.
Well, it's a war, I guess I feel very hurt because that's a war that should have never happened. And when I see what is happening, it's such a disaster. And you're talking about a very unfair war. But Russia's a very big military power, and they're sort of proving that with time. And I agree that the Ukrainians have been very brave, but this is something that should have been negotiated. I would have negotiated a deal.
I have more clips from this crazy interview with Donald Trump, but first, let's break down exactly why his strategy to negotiate a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine would not work. If you look at the history of Russia, one of their strategies during wartime is to start a war, pause that war when it serves their interest, then reignite that war years down the road. They invaded Crimea in 2014, they paused it so they could restock, repile, get ready, and then in 2022, they relaunched that invasion. So what Donald Trump is essentially saying is that he would just kick the can down the road to another administration. He's also setting the precedent that if you invade your next door neighbor and try to grab that land, you might just get a piece of that land because we negotiate peace deals rather than fighting back against authoritarian threats. Not to mention, while Crimea was invaded in 2014 under Obama, Trump still had 4 years during his presidency to do something about that, but we didn't see him place any tighter sanctions or tell him that he needs to stop with his imperial ambitions. Donald Trump does not care. He's using this as a tool, and I have so many clips similar to the one I played earlier of Trump supporters saying that Putin is with Trump, Putin is with the USA. Russian misinformation is so pervasive that we have American citizens not understanding what side they're on, but play this next clip.
We did much better in 2020. I did millions and millions of votes more in 2020. I did much better. And you can cut this if you want, but the election was rigged. Fox may want to cut that one out, but that's okay.
Well, I would just say it hasn't been proven in court.
Well, it was so rigged. It was so crazy. But we're going to do it again.
Majority of Republicans believe Trump's insistence that the 2020 election was stolen, but there is no independent evidence of widespread fraud.
That was Fox News surprisingly live fact-checking Donald Trump's lies about election fraud, and I guess it's not that surprising considering the fact that they just lost $800 million to Dominion, but I do want to point out that out of the 60-plus cases Trump and his supporters brought to court, over half of them were shot down due to evidentiary reasons, about 15 of them were actually removed by the person who brought the case, and the rest were shot down because they had no merit. There was no evidence of election fraud, and everybody around Donald Trump told him that.
Said that the sudden death of Alexei Navalny in a Siberian prison camp was horrible and that he was very brave, and there's no question about that. And you said that you're going through a form of Navalny. But here's the thing. The media, as you know, blame Putin. Joe Biden blames Putin. Much of the civilized world blames Putin. Do you believe Vladimir Putin has some responsibility for the death of Alexei Navalny?
I don't know, but perhaps. I mean, possibly. I could say probably. I don't know.
Really, Trump? You don't know if he has some responsibility? Just some responsibility? I mean,
Russia is with us. They're with Trump.
He's a young man, so statistically he'd be alive for a long time, right? If you go by the insurance numbers, he'd be alive for another 40 years. So something happened that was unusual.
Well, obviously he survived a poisoning attempt by the Kremlin and barely lived, went back, got jailed, and then suddenly he keels over. They don't release the body. I mean, how could anything like that happen without Putin and high-ranking Kremlin officials sanctioning it?
Well, I don't know. You certainly can't say for sure, but certainly that would look like something very bad happened. Right?
I think we can agree on that.
I think so. I don't even know if I would have had to negotiate. They never would have attacked while I was president. The oil prices were low. We were at $40 a barrel. Went to $100 a barrel. At $100 a barrel, Putin makes a fortune. He made a fortune on this war. At $40, he wouldn't have started the war. Just like if you look at Iran, Iran was broke. They would have never given money to Hamas or Hezbollah. Therefore, Israel wouldn't have been attacked, and they wouldn't have been attacked for other reasons too.
But so if it was next January 20th, and you were sworn in, would you be willing to see Putin swallow part or all of Ukraine, or would you provide military aid?
I hope that it doesn't come to that. That's a long time. You know, we're talking about You're talking about 9 months in that case, right? 7 months, a little more than 7 months for the election itself. That's an eternity in terms of war and in terms of politics and in terms of the world.
You whipped up a global story twice by saying that you would not protect NATO countries that don't contribute their fair share of the defense burden. And then you said, if they don't, you would encourage the Russians to do whatever the hell they want to do to these countries. That sounds like a pro-Putin stance, or is it a negotiating stance?
No, it sounds like somebody that wants to get people to pay money. So when I was president, first year, I went to a NATO summit, and I noticed something, because I'm very good with numbers. And I looked and I said, you know, you have 20 of the 28 countries that haven't paid, or they paid far less than they're supposed to. What's that all about? The United States, in the meantime, was paying much more than they were supposed to. We were making up the difference, a massive amount. We were almost paying for the whole thing, if you want to really know the truth. We were paying for close to 100%. So they take advantage of us on trade. The European countries, I love them. I somehow have a little heritage there. You know, I mean, we have a little soft spot, right?
Yeah.
But the European nations, if you add them up, they have the same size economy, essentially, as the United States. You add them all up, and they're about the same. Yet we're $100 billion more to Ukraine than they are. When I said that, and when I made that statement, I want to energize them to pay. They have to pay. It's not fair.
You don't energize our allies by scaring them into thinking we're going to pull out of this coalition that we've spent decades upon decades building and strengthening. But watch Trump again defend his remarks about terminating the Constitution.
I don't want to relitigate your accusations about the 2020 election, but a while back you wrote on Truth Social, a massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. That was pretty chilling for people who kind of sort of like the Constitution.
Well, no, all I'm saying is an election has to be constitutional. I'm not saying void the Constitution or anything like that, but they're the ones that are violating the Constitution. I'm not violating. I'm saying when they cheat on an election, you may not be able to say this because you're at Fox, but some people do say it, and many people agree with it.
Mostly Republicans. I mean, it's become a very partisan
I guess so,
thing.
but the Democrats believe it too, but they don't want to say it. I mean, they believe it too. You just have to look at the numbers. But without getting at that, look, we have to have free elections. They have to be fair. And people have to know that they're free. They have to know that they're fair. And you have to have borders. You have to have borders. You have to have great elections, free elections, fair elections, no cheating, no ballot drops, no anything. It has to be basic voter ID. It's actually insulting to a person to say you can't get a, you know, an ID pass.
There's just so much to unpack here. We're not insulting people or talking down to them when it comes to voter ID. A North Carolina court concluded that black communities were being targeted with surgical precision and that these laws were put into place to specifically disenfranchise black communities or people that are disabled or people that have trouble getting a certain type of voter ID. And I've pointed this out in my previous videos, but he's again doing this Mott and Bailey tactic that I see in debates all the time where he says something very extreme. We need to terminate the Constitution. But then when you ask him about it, he has some elaborate scheme, elaborate answer. He's like, oh no, I didn't mean terminate the Constitution. I meant the election was unconstitutional. That's not what you said. You use inflammatory language to rile up your base and you mean it. He's anti-American. And personally, I kind of like the Constitution. My name is Mockler with MeidasTouch. Like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, and have a great day.